Hello my friends, today we will take a look at the comparison of DJI Pocket 2 and GoPro Hero 9. These devices represent different approaches to making a portable camera with stable footage. Both GoPro and DJI have made some changes to make their latest cameras more all-round usable. That means that this comparison can be a lot more direct than in the previous generation. In this video, I will try to explain the main differences between the Pocket 2 and Hero 9, and I will try to help you decide which one is more suitable for you. The first and the most obvious difference is the construction. Hero 9 is a classic action camera. It has a water-resistant square body with a lens attached on the front side and a screen on the back side. Hero 9 is also the first GoPro that has a forward-facing screen. Hero 9 is noticeably larger than previous generations, but it is still very portable. Pocket 2 has the lens and the sensor mounted on a tiny gimbal. That makes it more suitable for handheld shooting without additional accessories. On the other hand, it is also more fragile. Gimbal is a precise device and it is not designed to sustain a lot of damage. That means that the GoPro is definitely more suitable for action shooting and Pocket 2 for all-round use. The second difference is the type of footage that you can get with each device. The base equivalent focal length is 20mm on Pocket 2 and 16mm on GoPro. Both are in ultra-wide range, but the GoPro is still significantly wider. 20mm on Pocket 2 is more neutral focal length, suitable for all-round use. You can use it for landscapes, people, travel stuff, and also for vlogging. In comparison with GoPro, it produces more naturally looking footage. It is still very wide angle, but it already doesn't have that action camera look, which is an advantage for me personally. 16mm is a classic action camera field of view, but Hero 9 has really good lens and dewarping, so the footage also doesn't have that much of an action camera fisheye look. This field of view is also ideal for POV shooting, vlogging, and using the camera in tight spaces. On Pocket 2, you also have an option to use the zoom. You will always get full 4K resolution, and I would say that it is okay up to 1.5 times, maybe even more, but there is some loss of image quality. I've talked more about that in my Pocket 2 review. There is also a 0.75 times wide angle lens for Pocket 2, which basically matches the field of view of Hero 9. The image quality with this lens is actually very similar to Hero 9, so that is a big strength of Pocket 2. On Hero 9 we have so-called digital lenses. This is also a digital zoom. Just like on Pocket 2, there is always some loss of image quality. I would say that the linear setting still looks pretty good, but the loss of image quality in comparison with the wide setting is evident. Regarding the image quality, it is better on Pocket 2. It has a larger sensor and optically better lens, so it captures more detail and the footage just looks more classy. Hero 9 also uses a new 20-megapixel sensor. Despite that the Hero 9 is larger than the predecessors, the sensor is still 1/2.3-inch type, which is a bit of disappointment. Hero 9 still shoots very nice video up to 5K. The image quality is excellent for an action camera, but the Pocket 2 is just a level above that. The difference is actually quite significant, it is not at pixel peeping level. In the low light, Pocket 2 completely destroys the GoPro. The lens on Pocket 2 lets in more than twice as much light, and the sensor is much larger. The colors are great on both. In the normal or GoPro setting, both produce relatively saturated and vibrant colors, but it is not an overkill. Both cameras also have good options to shoot flat footage. On GoPro you can set the flat color and also lower the sharpening. On Pocket 2 we have decent color setting, which captures solid dynamic range, and the sharpening is very reasonable. Flat profiles on both give you good options for matching the colors in post. Both cameras offer excellent image quality for what they are, but DJI Pocket 2 clearly wins in direct comparison. Another difference is the method of stabilization. As I have said, Pocket 2 uses a gimbal, whereas the GoPro uses electronic image stabilization. Electronic image stabilization basically has only one advantage, and that is the ability to stabilize the z-axis or the vertical axis. That is useful mainly for walking, which is being stabilized on the GoPro, and it does a really good job here. The second advantage could be that it doesn't require any sensitive hardware, so the cameras with electronic image stabilization can be very sturdy. The gimbal on Pocket 2 has many advantages. First of all, you can choose from 4 modes. You have the follow mode, which keeps the horizon leveled, and it follows the panning and tilting. In tilt lock mode, it also keeps the horizon leveled, and it only follows the panning axis. FPV mode follows all of your movements, including the horizontal axis. That is basically the only mode available on GoPro and other devices with electronic image stabilization. The fourth mode on Osmo Pocket is the lock mode. That will keep the camera pointed in the same direction. You can also use the joystick or controller wheel for very precise gimbal movements, so that is a big advantage. Pocket 2 also has a very impressive object tracking feature. You can select the object to follow by double tapping on the screen. It will also detect face in frame automatically, and it will start tracking person in the frame. Another advantage of Pocket 2 is that you can control the gimbal remotely, so you can basically compose the shots using the smartphone app. Regarding the efficiency of image stabilization, that is difficult to judge because wider field of view is always easier to stabilize. I can say that the footage looks great on both. Pocket 2 is better at static shots, panning, and pointing the camera. The walking also looks surprisingly good on Pocket 2. A little bit of up and down movement is still visible, but it keeps the horizon leveled. If you know how to walk with gimbal properly, you may actually get better results in some situations. You have seen the samples, so you can decide what you prefer. Another difference is that the GoPro uses fixed focus, so everything is basically in focus all the time. On the other hand, Pocket 2 has longer focal length and wider aperture, so it still needs to use the autofocus. The autofocus on Pocket 2 uses both phase detection and contrast detection, and it is very good. The depth of field is also quite deep on Pocket 2, so it has pretty easy job. Overall, the autofocus is very good on Pocket 2, so I have no complaints. Fixed focus is still more suitable for POV action shooting because it doesn't do anything and it obviously can't fail. You can also set the focus manually using AFS on Pocket 2, which would also work for action shooting. Regarding the stills, Pocket 2 can shoot very impressive 64 megapixel JPEGs or 16 megapixel RAWs. The image quality of these is again the best among compact consumer cameras. These are very detailed and the RAWs capture a lot of dynamic range. Stills from Hero 9 are very nice as well. It can shoot 20 megapixel stills with a nice amount of detail considering the optics that are used here. An advantage of GoPro is the screen size. Hero 9 finally uses a larger 2.27-inch display. This is actually a very good display and it significantly improves user experience in comparison with older GoPros. Regarding the user interface, I like the main menu. It is well organized and the shortcuts are very useful. On the other hand, I don't really like on-screen shortcuts and preset system. Those just obstruct the screen and I would much prefer a swipe system that would bring me directly to the settings, like on Osmo Action for example. A big improvement is the front screen. This 1.4-inch color screen is very useful for filming yourself or for composing in tight spaces. This screen is also really good, so thumbs up for the front-facing screen. Pocket 2 has a small 1.08-inch screen and you will mostly be able to use it for composing your shots and maybe adjusting exposure. The brightness and the sharpness is also okay, so even though you won't be able to check the focus, it is okay for intended purposes. Of course, you can always connect it to your smartphone if you need a larger screen. The user interface is probably as good as it can be at that screen size. You can still change all of the settings on that screen. It uses the usual swipe gestures and the main menu is very well organized. I also like the new mini control stick which is included with Pocket 2. That gives you an extra button and a joystick. The button switches follow modes, so it is very useful. The joystick can control zoom or gimbal position. The follow speed of joystick movement can be adjusted, and it is very smooth and slow at the slowest setting. GoPro Hero 9 uses a new 1720 mAh battery. A big advantage is that the GoPro battery is removable. Pocket 2 uses 875 mAh non-removable battery. According to my testing, the consumption of both is about 1% of battery life per 1 minute of continuous 4K 20p recording at the highest setting. GoPro has a larger battery but also higher consumption because of the screen and the image stabilization. The battery life on both is pretty good for this type of device. To sum up, I think that Pocket versus Hero comparison is much more direct in this generation. Having said that, choosing between these two is still pretty easy in my opinion. If you primarily want an all-round point-and-shoot camera or vlogging camera, DJI Pocket 2 is a better choice. It offers significantly better image quality, more versatile focal length, usable zoom, excellent audio and other advantages. GoPro Hero 9 is a better choice if you need an action camera for actual action shooting, or a camera that will be mounted most of the time. It is much more rugged, water resistant, more suitable for mounting, and it still offers very good image quality. Both screens are also very nice upgrades over the older GoPros. As you can probably tell, regardless of the category, I am much more impressed by the Pocket 2. To be honest, I expected a more significant image quality improvement from the Hero 9. It is still a very good action camera though, and I don't really have any major complaints. So that's it for this video, thank you for watching, I hope that you liked this video and that you have found it to be useful. Stay tuned for more videos and maybe consider subscribing if you don't want to miss my future content. I appreciate your feedback in form of thumbs up or thumbs down. If you would like to ask anything or share your opinion, please do so in the comment section, and see you next time.